Now, some breaking news just coming into us. Sarah, Duchess of York, has been dropped as a patron of a children's hospice after it emerged that she sent an email apologising to paedophile financier Jeffrey Epstein for publicly disowning him.
Well, let's get the very latest now on this breaking news with our royal correspondent Cameron Walker.
Yes, not a very good look for the Duchess of York. So, of course, 2008, Jeffrey Epstein was convicted of a number of child sex offences. Then fast forward to 2011, Sarah, the Duchess of York, took part in a media interview where she apologised for accepting £15,000 from Jeffrey Epstein to pay off some of her debts. Now, it appears that Jeffrey Epstein was a bit annoyed by that media interview, because a couple of weeks later, having pledged to never contact the convicted paedophile again, Sarah did just that, secretly emailing Jeffrey Epstein a grovelling apology, calling him her supreme friend, which of course has now emerged in the Sunday papers. And that is why the charity Julia's House has decided to cut ties with Sarah, Duchess of York. Of course, it is a children's hospice charity. Now, the charity has said in a statement, following the information shared this weekend on the Duchess of York's correspondence with Jeffrey Epstein, Julia's House has taken the decision that it would be inappropriate for her to continue as a patron of the charity. We have advised the Duchess of York of this decision and thank her for her past support. Now, a spokesman for the Duchess previously told GBNews ahead of this announcement this afternoon that the Duchess spoke of her regret about her association with Epstein many years ago, and as they have always been, her first thoughts are with the victims. Now, I understand that the reason why the Duchess claimed she sent that email to Epstein, having said she'd never speak to him again, was because Jeffrey Epstein threatened her with defamation, threatened to sue her for associating him with paedophilia. So that is the reason, we understand it, why the Duchess sent that email. But nonetheless, quite a terrible error of judgment, many would see it as.
It does sound like a bit of a strange sort of excuse, doesn't it? I mean, a private grovelling email that was supposed to avoid a defamation case, but everyone on the planet was calling Jeffrey Epstein a paedophile. It doesn't quite make sense.
Don't forget, he'd lent her money, though, so I actually feel a little bit sorry for her here, because I think it's an error of judgment, but it sounds like she was under pressure, which is why she did that.
She was under pressure. She was legally advised, I understand it, to send the email. But as you say, Tom, Jeffrey Epstein by that point was a well-known convicted sex offender. And of course, it comes back to the fundamental issue when it comes to either the Duke or the Duchess of York. Their judgment appears to be slightly poor by associating themselves with very, very rich, powerful men who perhaps are slightly dodgy, and of course accepting money.
I mean, if the guy was convicted of child sex trafficking and prostitution, how do you describe that other than paedophilia?
Well, I was trying to work out, how would he be able to sue her for defamation if he was already a convicted sex offender? But nonetheless, that was the legal advice I understand that she was given. So as you say, Nana, she may have been forced into a corner by the lawyers to write that email, but she did do the opposite of what she said she would do a couple of weeks before, and of course not contact Jeffrey Epstein again.
Hello, I'm Bev Turner. Now, it can feel like the money in our bank accounts at the moment does not keep up with the cost of living, and maybe there's a solution. I'm here today with the CEO of TallyMoney, Cameron Parry. Cameron, what is TallyMoney?
Well, Bev, with TallyMoney, you get a current account and a debit card, but instead of pounds, you use milligrams of gold as your everyday money.
So why gold?
Gold traditionally is a great store of value. It has, on average, gone up at over 11% per annum for the last 25 years against the pound. It's tripled in value in the last decade. And in the last 2 years alone, it's increased by 50% against the pound. Banks' savings products just can't compete with that level of growth.
But this isn't just about gold. This is about a currency that you guys have created at TallyMoney. Explain it to me as though I'm an idiot.
So, look, people need to be able to hold their earnings and build their savings in a money that retains its value and remains in their legal control and remains theirs to access, away from government control.
Great. You had me at not exposed to government control.
You should feel safe and happy with your money. You should have peace of mind. The more money you see in your bank balance, and that's the type of thing we're trying to deliver, and give people choice in the type of money they get to use every day.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Cameron. Thank you.
But why are Andrew and Sarah Ferguson seemingly always in a position where they're needing more money?
Well, with the Duchess of York, I think she had around £5 million worth of debts, and she needed to pay off her former personal assistant, who she couldn't afford to pay the salary of. That was what the £15,000 from Jeffrey Epstein was. Reportedly, we can't confirm this independently at GBNews, but reportedly that deal was brokered by Prince Andrew, who, of course, was a friend of Jeffrey Epstein, as has been well documented over the last couple of years. Sarah, at the time, no longer a working royal, did not receive any money from the Privy Purse at the time, but now, of course, known as the Sovereign Grant. Prince Andrew, of course, was a working member of the royal family, did associate himself with Jeffrey Epstein. I don't think we understand it took money, but of course, Sarah was by herself and did have a lot of debt and was struggling to repay that money.
See, that's difficult because once you're no longer in the royal fold, you now have to find some way of making money. And you can't appear to be poor because you've come from the royal fold, so people expect you to have money. So it's difficult to then try and create an income.
Well, it's the optics as well, because at the time she was writing children's books. She still does. And, of course, writing and calling a convicted paedophile a supreme friend in an email at the same time that you are writing and publishing children's book, that's where people are having an issue, and that is why the charity has decided to cut ties with Sarah this afternoon.
Now, of course, Andrew has been embroiled in this for a long, long time. Is this the first time that Sarah has been sort of dragged into this long-running scandal? It
was always known that she had associations with Jeffrey Epstein. I don't think we knew the full extent until those emails were published in the newspapers this weekend. So that is why reaction is now happening from charities associated with Sarah, Duchess of York.
And is there verification that it was lawyers that advised her to say to send the email?
That's what I understand, yes.
So there is verification.
But the charity has decided that the optics of having her as a patron is too difficult to continue.
But I can see that she was clearly under pressure, and her story is true that the lawyers suggested that she do that. Unfortunately, she'd said something different earlier. But that is sad, isn't it?
Tricky situation.
Very tricky. Cameron Walker, thank you very much.
Absolutely. Well, moving on now.
But before we do that, we've got a statement. The charity Julia's House said in a statement...
Following the information shared this weekend on the Duchess of York's correspondence with Jeffrey Epstein, Julia's House has taken the decision that it would be inappropriate for her to continue as a patron of the charity. We have advised the Duchess of York on this decision and thank her for past support.
OK.
That's right, Tom. I'm loving your Big Brother accent, Nana. It's fantastic. Yeah, day 3 here at the Lib Dem conference. I'm joined now by Sarah Olney, of course, who is the Shadow Cabinet Office Minister. Sarah Olney, before we talk about your policies, your reaction to Sarah Ferguson losing the patronage of one of her charities?
Well, I think it's the only thing possible after what's been revealed about her emails to Jeffrey Epstein. I think any charity would want to know that their trustees, observe the highest possible standards of child protection, and I really do think that these emails very much undermine that. So I'm not surprised that this has happened. She's
patron, I think, of 4 other charities. Should she also lose those?
It feels like it might be the right thing to do. Obviously, that's a matter for them, but I really think these revelations about these emails, I think that makes her position untenable.